This program is powered by
उच्च सोचको निर्माण सगरमाथा सिमेन्ट जुनी जुनीलाई
Time and tide waits for no one, and rightly so. You can, gain anything in life, but time, once it's gone, and what you got to do in this time. Present is the key, and future holds possibilities. I'm Pradhan, अब जाँदैछु एउटा सानो चिया the Disney man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I mean, I've waited for 2 years to have you
Really?
on my show. It was a different medium then.
Yeah.
Now it's a different medium, I know.
It's been 2 years.
2 years.
Wow.
It was like 2019.
Right before COVID.
Right before COVID, yeah. I mean, yeah, we had a short talk as in how we would want to take the interview, ke गर्ने भनेर, and then it just, after 2 years we are here.
Yeah.
And the time moves, right?
Definitely.
And within these 2 years, we've seen a lot of changes in the world. Because of COVID and also the OTT platforms coming to the rise, and even the animation studios making quite a worthwhile during this pandemic time. What do you make out of it? Is animation going to be the future, like total future? Do you think?
I think so. Animation has always been the thing. People think of animation as just these cartoons, right? Little things that kids watch. But if you really look into it, animation is like in everything. In commercials, films, television series, multimedia, games, everything. So and I think what you were saying with the COVID, actually, just to tell you a little story, when the COVID struck, I was here, and the news was going on corona, and I went back to the US. A week later, everything, the US locked down and Europe was closed. And all the film studios were putting a halt on their productions because of the lockdown. And so I was really worried that it was going to impact our business. And then within a month, then I realized, wow, it's actually great for animation, because animation with or live action, man, people had to go to locations and shoot. With animation, you could still do work remotely. So then all of a sudden, I'm getting calls from companies that have never done animated films, and they're contacting and say, oh, I got this script, we want to do animation, all, and then I realized that it's something that's still, even during COVID time, that you can do it. In fact, the movie that we were working on for Universal Studio called Bubbleheads, the movie, we were about 80% completed and 20% remaining. And I was in a panic mode. So we had to take the computers to the artist's home and have them work. So the last 20-25% of the film was done all remotely.
Wow. I mean, the adaptiveness to change is pretty much.
It was a stressful time, but very.
अब भनौँ न, तपाईले Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, सबै एनिमेसन गर्दै त्यो बेलादेखि सुरु गर्दै, now you've accumulated a team which is in Nepal, which is in the US, and which is in India. How hard is it for you as an entrepreneur to cater to all the young minds, to search for young talents? How hard is it for you to get on with at least staying relevant with the time in terms of human resource, in terms of content? What is the challenge there?
That is a challenge all the time.
All the time.
All the time. When you put it that way, I feel so old. When you mentioned Beauty and the Beast, I go oh my God, that was actually Beauty and the Beast was released 30 years ago, from 3 days ago.
Wow.
November 14 became 30 years ago.
Wow, it's almost here.
30 years ago, yeah. That was when Beauty and the Beast got released. So that's how long I've been in
1991.
1991. That's how long I've been in this field, right? So when you said that, I'm thinking there must be so many people out there that weren't even born back then. You probably were 2 years old.
No, I was not even born in November. I was born in 1992 April.
So
11.
So you were not even born, right?
No. But then the work still, when I look at the work, it's still fresh.
Yeah. So when you that's the thing about animated films are they're timeless. If you do it right, they're timeless. People still go back and watch, Toy Story. People still, can watch Lion King. it's like timeless. So like if you even go back beyond that, right? When you watch like Snow Whites and the, Seven Dwarfs and all, they're all like timeless animated films, So it's been like 40, 45 years.
I'm pretty interested because the making a timeless movie for the kids and for the generation. किनकि अब मैले त्यो Beauty and the Beast हेरेकै मैले अब भनौँ न बच्चामा हेरेको I'm like 29 now and मलाई अझै पनि त्यो हेर्दाखेरि अझै it's very vivid के the characters, the colors and मलाई अब क्यासल भने कस्तो हुन्छ भनेर छ नि त्यो डान्स गरेर बेला थाहा पाएको टाइपको हैन the concept of everything and it's something like a fantasy society. What is the society like? एउटा बच्चालाई त्यहाँ गरेको एक्टिभिटिज गतिविधिले सोसाइटी भने के हो त that's like a child getting known to the society नि त हैन. Now I'd like to know your childhood like how was your childhood for someone who's carved childhood memories for all the generations. What was your childhood like?
My childhood was naughty childhood.
Naughty childhood, okay. What was it?
So let me explain that. I don't want people to think of it differently. I was born in Tachal,
Okay.
And so what the hell? Let me tell you, I'm 60 years old, so I was born 60 years ago. Okay? Tachal, and back then in Tachal there were not that many houses. Yeah, there were just everything was just kid, and there's not much to do. We didn't have phones and games, so we pretty much play in the field all day. Dhan kateko khetma, you basically make that into a soccer field, football field. I don't know if you know Wagra.
Wagra, no.
Wagra is like a bunch of kids get together and then carve some like little patterns in the floor, the mato na.
त्यो ढुङ्गाले खेल्ने हो
त गुच्चा फ्याल्ने.
Okay.
And then we bet on it,
okay.
And then कतिले so we used to grow like that, and so our activities would be, I'm saying this in national TV, our activities as you start growing into like 7, 8 years old, we would go to our neighbor's backyard and नेभर नै साथी हुन्छ हैन अनि भन्छ मेरो घरमा यस्तो काँक्रो यस्तो राम्रो फलिरहेछ त्यो मेरो आमाले लग्न चोरेर खाउँछ. That's how naughty we were. So that's how was. So I was completely just a simple kid just having a great time growing up.
You still have friends with the people that you grew up with?
Yeah.
They're still in contact?
They're all scattered, but some are still here.
Okay.
But in trying to stay in the subject, animation, we had a guy called Ranjit. He used to rent the lower floor. And he was Super 8mm थियो हैन अनि उले चाहिँ नि यो कार्टुनहरु ल्याउँथे Bugs Bunny and all. And once a week he'll gather all the kids, like 20-25 of us, and he'll play all these things here, and we're all glued to it, हेरेर बस्ने. Because like when you're like 9 years old, you see this funny little stuff moving on the screen. You don't know how it's made, Film भनेकै अब एउटा दुईटा मात्र हेरेको हुन्थ्यो. And we used to be glued. That's how I got introduced to animation, and I loved that. And I was fascinated with what it is and how it is done and all that stuff.
What was your first device that you worked on?
Device meaning?
The computer or तपाईले animation गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ this is the device.
So then when I went to the US, I was 19 years old, 1981. IBM PC had just come out.
Okay.
Before that, we were like all these big mainstream, mainframes and all that stuff. And when I went there, I didn't know what I wanted to be. पहिला बच्चा बेला pilot. Then when I went to the States, I went to be a nuclear engineer, because nuclear physicist. But then one day I was going around and I saw in a store the IBM PC. And I asked my friend, I said, what is that? He said, personal computer. And I had no idea. And then the guy was showing like all these little stuff, very simple stuff. But I was fascinated. What a machine, you could do all that stuff. So when you say, what was my first computer? My first computer was IBM PC at home. When I was going to college, I used that for my projects and all. But then when I went to work at Disney, the computer that we used for our animation used to be called Silicon Graphics.
Okay.
Your computer go $35,000.
$35,000 at that point of time.
It's a very expensive, graphics-heavy workstation. And you look at that and you think about now, like for now you can get like $3,500, $3,000, you can do like high-end graphics, you know.
Hazar.
So that's that was the thing.
Times have really changed.
Yeah, computers are very expensive, especially. And then you know, that was the only computer in town, STI, you know, Silicon Graphics. And then Steve Jobs, he tried to start when he got kicked out of Apple. You know, he started a company called Next.
Yeah.
And so he started creating Next computers for graphics.
Hazar.
And we tried that a little bit too, but that didn't work out. You know? Then HP came and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've been quite relevant with time, and like the technology has changed.
Yeah.
Hopefully your tactics and have changed too with in terms of professionalism. अब चाहिँ समय चेन्ज भइरहेछ, audience चेन्ज भइरहेको छ, हैन? Audience चेन्ज हुन साथै कसरी जाने भनेर चाहिँ what kind of mindset a filmmaker or a content creator must have?
That's a tough question. I never sat down and charted my career, you know?
Never?
Never. Like I said, like I got into computer graphics because I saw the PC. I'm kind of like spontaneous in some way. So I did that, then you know, like my career is like, I wasn't an animator to start off with. Then I did my master in computer graphics, worked for a computer company, writing software, you know? And then my career into animation started when Disney then were advertising jobs for Beauty and the Beast. And then I go like, oh, this might be fun. And then I tried and I got accepted.
So the whole idea was this might be fun.
This might be fun, I know. Kati computer बसेर गर्ने. So I said that might be fun. That looks very cool. I'm one of those guys that chases after coolness. So I went there, and it was one of those jobs. They were transitioning from hand-drawn to computer animation, all, and they were like just like 2 openings. It was a very small team, 2 openings, and like it was very hard to.
How many people applied there? What was
there
the
were
competition?
Like 150 people, and
2 jobs, and you got
accepted,
one.
Yeah. So I was very fortunate in that, and then I got there and I was completely lost because of software programming for normal stuff versus graphics. It was completely. So it took me like a couple of weeks to like really get into that thing. So that's how I started into animation, and then within 6 months, I would go back to my desk and I'm like programming, and then I would see in the other rooms people are creating these amazing animations. And I go like, this is not what I want to do, you know. That looks very cool. That looks exciting. And I used to go and ask them, "कसरी गर्ने?" And somehow like I connect with people. So I would spend like in the evenings after afternoon comes, I would spend in the evenings, and I would learn from them. And then I transitioned into the animation department. Yeah.
Okay, so that was something that you wanted to do, and you found your path like that.
I found my path. And then
You built your path, you basically, carved your path like that.
My path. Then I worked on Beauty and the Beast, then I worked briefly on Aladdin. And then Lion King was just, they're putting the team together.
Yeah.
And then they tapped me into it. So they
some of the iconic movies, some of the movies that I've actually grown up, like...
Yeah, Lion King is just like still like one
Lion King, the father and the son bonding was like something that I cherish, that I'll cherish all my life.
It's very powerful, like
very,
and like very powerful. So in that project, like I did, the stuff that I did was something that was first of its kind, like the whole idea of having masses of wildebeest thing. Like you cannot do previously like एउटा hardly draw गरेर गर्नै सक्दैन के त. So that was something the directors wanted to do, and they wanted to take a chance. कसरी यो crowd scenes भने masses, now these days you watch any movie, Lord of the Rings and all, you see all those things. So I developed with my colleagues, developed that software, and that became a big hit. And then that's how then I got promoted to be supervisor, and then I kept on working. And then so that's how my animation career started.
Right.
But then after 18 years, I'm here in Nepal. So from animation, I'm now an entrepreneur. I never took an entrepreneurship class. I'm not from a business background, so yeah, it's just. But I loved what I do, so I just just grew it. And now like becoming from running a company and like on the side, directing and producing films,
So
I'm finding that much more exciting, right? Creating content.
So we'll definitely come back to films. Now it's time for a good break. We'll be right back only on Chiya Guff. हामीहरु Chiya Guff मा फेरि आउने छौं. तपाईहरु हामीलाई हेरिराख्नु होला. And if you're interested in animation and if your path is to reach to Hollywood, well, you're talking to the Disney man himself, and I'm getting this chance, and hopefully you're listening and watching and learning a lot. All right. So यही भन्दै I am Jay Pradhan. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Back to Chiya Guff. म हुँ Jay Pradhan. साथमा हुनुहुन्छ मेरो Mr. Kiran Bhakta Joshi, जसले चाहिँ एनिमेसनलाई लिएर धेरै अगाडि फड्को मारिसक्नु भएको छ. नेपालीहरूले पनि हलिउडमा नाम छाप्न सक्छन् र केही गर्छन् र गरिरहेछन् भनेर उहाँले प्रुफ गर्नुभएको छ. We've seen what would require for us Nepalese to stamp our name in the international arena that we can brew amazing content on it.
Okay, that's a good question. By the way, I feel really odd just wearing this hat with sitting next to a bald guy. I'm going to take my hat off to it.
Sure.
I give you company.
I like to have that amazing company.
I normally, wear my hat, so that's a good question. I think, I just see like in Nepal, like there's a lot of content being created, like in YouTube, lots of young filmmakers, and they're creating amazing stuff, and the cinematography and all that stuff. And people ask me, like, because I've done local documentaries, for a year and all, and people ask me, like, why don't you get into the film market in Nepal? And I go, like, there are lots of great filmmakers here already doing that. So, मेरो चाहिँ के भन्छ dream भनौँ न, or इच्छा, I've always wanted to do films that crosses like to the global market. Okay? And we are in such a great country where so many amazing stories, art and culture and all. Okay? And that's not been tapped. People know Nepal because of Mount Everest. People know Nepal because of like some movies that they came in, did a little bit of shootings of Doctor Strange and all. Okay? So there's more to it than that. Like even like in a movie like Doctor Strange, if you look at it, they tapped into Hamro tantric stuff, and they made that like an essential part of the character and all, and they just came and shot. So if you really want to take Nepal out there, you have to grow the story from it. You have to create our own stories. You can bring filmmakers and shoot some films and go, So you have to really develop stories from here with the idea that the story is not just local, but it can really reach the global market, and that's the mission I'm on now.
All right. मलाई तपाईसँग कस्तो एउटा इन्स्टेन्स सेयर गर्न मन लाग्यो कि म हातमा थिएँ हैन एउटा इभेन्टमा थिएँ. इट वाज 2015 ठ्याक्क भुइँचालो गएर हैन ठ्याक्क आफ्टर अ फ्यु मन्थ्स वी आर ह्याभिङ दिस इभेन्ट इन हायत. म र मेरो एकजना साथी थियौँ, दुईजनै टिभी होस्टहरू नै. वी आर नट होस्टिङ द सो वी आर देयर एज गेस्ट्स. अनि ठ्याक्क निस्किएको माथि थियौँ. अनि हामीहरू घर जान लागेको थियो कि अब इभेन्ट सिधै घर जाने भनेर ठ्याक्क हामीहरू गेट भनेर त्यो ठ्याक्क त्यो हाटको त्यो कोर्टयार्डतिर मात्र पुगेको. दिस दिस टल गाई, डार्क कम्प्लेक्स गाई ठ्याक्क यस्तो गऱ्यो कि ब्याग रुकस्याक थियो यस्तो गऱ्यो, हाई गरेर गयो कि
ब्याकप्याक जस्तो
रुकस्याकै थियो, लाइक पक्का रुकस्याक थियो नि. हाई गरेर गयो कि हि मेटस झ्याम्मै भयो. अनि लाइक जस्ट फर कर्टेसी सेक हाई गऱ्यो गयो. And my friend goes like, I was stunned. एकछिन त वाट भयो. मेरो साथी लाइक त्यो एक्टर होइन भने कि. And no, it was not Cumberbatch. It was Chiwetel Ejiofor. It was Chiwetel Ejiofor, right? I was like stunned के एकछिन ल. I'm like मैले 3 days back I saw your movie जस्तो भइरहेको थियो कि. Like 30,000 something years of 15 years of slave हो कि के भनेर निस्केको थियो नि त.
I haven't watched it.
I watched him there, and right after a few days, he was right in front of me. I like stunned.
Did you find out why he was
for there? Doctor Strange.
Oh, yeah.
For Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange shoot garna airako raheछ. But I didn't get a chance to even bump into Cumberbatch.
But isn't that amazing that you say like he could have just
gone like that,
but then have an eye contact,
ठ्याक्कै आँखा जुदेको मात्र हाई गर्यो हैन. He gave a smile and just went off, and me and my friend were like, he was like, "Dude, actor, I know." And yeah, that was one of the fun instances. And I met Anurag Basu, the director of the Indian film industry at Tamil, and I was like, I didn't even click a selfie with him.
Oh.
Okay, I talked to him at Tamil, you know. He was just going through, scanning through the local marketplace, and he tagged you. You're Anurag Basu, right? Yeah. I watched your films. Those are good films. Thank you. He's like, go on, get it.
At least you didn't do like, there's a guy that we know in LA. This was when Richard Gere was married with Cindy Crawford. And this is a Tibetan guy. And for Tibetans, Richard Gere is like, with Dalai Lama. So he meets them, and then, he gives Richard Gere a camera and says, can you take a picture? And then
he didn't even know that was Richard Gere.
No, he gave it to Cindy Crawford.
Cindy Crawford, okay.
So he gave it to Cindy Crawford, and he posed a picture with Richard Gere. And when he told that to us, we go like, my God, you're so stupid. But for him, Richard Gere was like,
right. Now, how do you see Nepali animators coming up? Like, you have a young team, you have a very diverse team, you're very inclusive about the team. सबैजना हरेक different background को मान्छेहरु आएर तपाईका काम गरिराख्नु भएको छ. I saw your office 2 years back. You gave me a tour of the office too. It was really mind-boggling with the kind of resources you have. हैन जस्तो खालको भनौं न infrastructure तपाईले बनाउनु भएको छ त्यहाँ, and जस्तो खालको मान्छेहरु काम गरिराख्नु भएको छ. They are actually looking forward to a career that they can look up to for the next 20-30 years.
Hopefully.
हैन? So अहिलेको नेपाली animators-हरुमा चाहिँ what kind of talent have you seen, or like do we have the reach to at least sustain ourselves and compete with the rest of the Hollywood studios?
Yeah, I think so. It takes time, right? Like, so, somebody coming and then like working for 6 months, a year, it's like any art, yeah? When you're doing like thankai manaundakeri, like, it takes time to, so once you get to that state, like where you can be really good at it, it's very highly in demand. My studio gets rated by studios all over the world, even from LA. Hamro Incessant ma kaam gareko artists are like actually working in studios in LA, in Singapore and all. Incessant one now so because they know, like, there's a certain level of quality,
standard and quality.
So our biggest problem is animation in Nepal is still at a very early stage. Yeah? When you look at it, if you look at it in India, and China, they have like over 3,000 studios. Yeah? Nepal, they're not. We have the main studio, and then there are some small little studios. And the idea of putting quality and all into international work is not where it is. Yeah? So, like, if you, just to give you a little bit about our thing, when we started our company in 2008, we didn't think about profit. Yeah? Okay. For the first 3-4 years, we just didn't make profit. We were just investing on people, and whatever projects we got, we were like expanding. It only took us about 5 years to start making profit and start being able to.
5 years?
5 years, yeah. Not many businesses.
2013 was the year you started making profit.
For the first 4 years, we were like not making profit.
You're just putting in the money, and
we were like, sometimes we had to put money, sometimes we were just breaking even, and we were struggling. Yeah? But we kept on saying, like, you know what, we just keep charging. After like 4 or 5 years, we started doing really good. Because then our artists got more seasoned, matured. Our brand got more recognized. We started getting projects. Before, we had a very limited group of clients that we had to rely on. Our portfolio started increasing. But so it's not an easy thing, because like, it's not money, to be honest with you. I'm not like, to be honest again, people come and say like, oh, I'll put money and let me go start a studio. You can put money and you can go open a restaurant, right? You can hire a great chef. If you really want to have a great restaurant, you gotta have a great chef, you gotta have a great team. Right. You can still. So for studio, it's hard. It takes time. So it's a constant effort to like train and do stuff like that. And so in our studio, what we've done is create a culture where like we work on projects, but at the same time we also try to diversify. So if your skill is like building a model, for the computer, then we try to make sure that you also can, when you're within projects, that you also get trained on other disciplines. And at the end of the day, we always tell them, like, think like a filmmaker. Just don't think about just creating an image. Think about the story. Everything. Even if you're not an animator and you're just doing a color and lighting, then you need to think like a DP. How is this lighting impact that scene to create the emotion that the story needs.
Orientation class हुन्छ त के कस्तो हुन्छ?
Class हुन्छ. So हामीले के भन्छ, a lot of the artists, even if they get trained in some other institutes here, we bring them and we train them for 6 months, 5-6 months.
Okay. So after even getting recruited?
Yeah, we train them for 5 months, and then we start putting them into production.
Okay.
And then that's how then they start building stuff.
जतिजना रिक्रुट हुन्छ नि दाइ, उहाँहरुसँग 6 महिनाको धैर्यता हुन्छ कि छैन अहिलेसम्म, लाइक कतिको देख्नु?
They drop out. Yeah. So if we train, like say 20 artists, we might be lucky to get 12. Okay. A lot of people don't have patience. When we talk to the artists, we say, like, if you're looking just for money, quick buck, this is not it for you. Yeah? This is you can go work in a bank and make money, go do something else. But money will be there. Eventually you get money, yeah. But the biggest thing about this is in not only in this field but in any art is when the final product is completed, the achievement that you feel. Yeah? When you talk about money, there are animators that make $4 million a year. When I was at Disney, my previous colleague that I worked with, I won't name because he used to sign a contract for 5 years and used to make $17 million for 5 years.
That's a lot of money.
Lots of money. So animators money are like in some way like actors. Koi actor like Tom Cruise like $20 million didn't put into cost like $50,000. So it's that thing. It's your talent versus supply and demand.
कुरा आयो एक्टर्स डीपी देखि लिएर सबैको हैन. You've also been promoting Nepali talent, not just in terms of animation, just behind the cameras and post production मा मात्र नभइकन तपाईले नेपाली ट्यालेन्ट जो चाहिँ क्यामेरा अगाडि नै आउन पनि चाहनेहरुलाई पनि तपाईले you've been trying and helping them out, हैन? So what kind of छ नि trait do the actors or probably the models need to have it in them to make it up to the top?
So you're talking about Anshika?
Maybe.
So in the last 3 years, in the last 2-3 years, I realized that Nepal has so much talent, and and I always get things like they go like, I'm a model, I want to be a model in the US. Malay voice, animator voice part there, or even like I want to be an actor, and I really look at it and try to help it. And some guys might not like it, but in the last year and a half, 2 years, I've taken this thing and I'm trying to promote it in my studio also, is to empower women.
Okay.
There are lots of talented women here. Guys, definitely they can, women, and I'm trying to see how I can help them. Like for example, like so. In the case that you're alluding to, Anshika, she became Miss Universe, very pretty, very beautiful. And then when she came to New York, she came to LA after a big event there in Miami. She came to New York and then back to LA, and she stayed in our house for 11-12 days. And initially I was helping to organize an event to bring filmmakers, film directors, producers, and my contacts to raise money for charity. But in the process, like when I talked to her, like I realized that she wanted to be a model. So when I introduced to these people, I said like here's our current Miss Nepal,
Miss Universe
Nepal. She could be a great model. She could be a great actor. My job to tell like put them in the right, and then it's up to them. Yeah? So recently Anshika like really connected with a friend of mine. Larry Casanova, who is a producer, who was James Cameron ko पहिला producing. Terminator, True
Right.
Lies भयो, and Mortal Kombat, Dirty Dancing, all these big. So they connected really well, and they talked 20-25 minutes, and then he comes to me and says like, "Hey, Kiran, I think I can use her in one of my movies."
Oh, nice.
So that's what I wanted to hear. And so then then we took her for audition for his films. Then modeling on whatever, had like photo shoots, and then he connected with like all the modeling agencies and all. In fact, like she's actually going back to US today. Like if you want to start a career in modeling and films in the international market, you cannot be in Nepal. Okay? You have to be there. I hate to say that, but that's it. Now it could be different. Like one of the projects that I'm working on, Frostbite, is a project where I'm bringing filmmakers to come and shoot here.
Nice.
So here, then I can cast Nepalese actors for that film. Thought you want to get into the, that whole world, you have to be there.
Yeah, right. So I hope she makes it very good. Also.
Yeah, I hope she makes it. I'm really, it'll be really great for her and also great for Nepal. And then I have to be very. So one of the things that I realized, going back to your question, is that Nepal, like there are talented people and all, and I realized like in like a lot of these, and I know all these Miss Nepals and Miss Universe will get mad at me. They are very talented. They're very beautiful. They're very, they all know. They're very groomed well. Modeling shoot they got somebody doing their makeup and somebody's like doing their costume and all. And then the pictures come out right. But it's a totally different ball game when you are trying to get a career in USA and all.
Okay.
You have to be like really aggressive, cutthroat.
Okay.
You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to like really. You can't just sit here, and the producer is talking to you. You can't just sit here and not tell him what you really want to do.
Okay. So one needs to be expressive.
Expressive. Be really, you have to try to build that chemistry.
Okay.
You can't just say, I'm a model. I want to be an actor. You can't do that. And so, because they're not going to come and give it to you, you're not a proven commodity there.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm telling people out here when I meet is like, you have to really train your mind and be very, not passive, and be very like, go-getter type of guy.
Okay. The go-getter kind of.
And don't give up.
Nice.
You get some rejections,
Yes.
but who cares?
Go to the next one. Move on. So moving on, we'll be right back after this short commercial break. Here with Mr. Kiran Bhakta Joshi, and we're talking all about, Hollywood. We're talking all about animation. We're talking all about content. And hey, stay tuned for more is coming. All right, welcome back to Chiya Guff. हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ प्राइम टाइम्स एचजी म हुँ जय प्रधान साथमा हुनुहुन्छ मेरो किरण भक्त जोशी र हामीहरू सधैँ नै जब भेट्छौँ किरण दाइसँग मैले धेरै नै जान्ने र सिक्ने मौका पाएको छु दाइ नाउ व्हेन इट कम्स टु टाइम अनि जब युथको कुरा आउँछ जब एन्टरप्रेन्योरशिपकै कुरा आउँछ नाउ यु सेड 5 years it took for your company to make the first quality के हो दाइ in your entrepreneurial journey तपाईलाई फर्स्ट किनकि there's a lot of startups happening and मेरै साथीहरूले पनि कतिवटा स्टार्टअप खोलिरहेका छन् कति काम गरिरहेको छ कति काम गर्दैन 3 months down the line I hear it's बन्द कोही चाहिँ बल्ल बल्ल अगाडि सार्दै पनि it gets shut down. What is the entrepreneurial instinct there?
That's a good question. I used to say passion.
Passion.
I used to say that,
You used to say?
I used to say passion because I go like, oh, if you have passion, you'll just get there. I'm like changing that a little bit now. Okay. I say hunger.
Hunger.
You have to have that hunger because you have to have passion. But if you have a hunger, you can then take a lot of rejections. And you are just completely determined, So if you say like, this is what I want to do, and I can do it, no matter who you run into, no matter how many rejections you get, because you got that thing. And it's like simple thing. I'm like, nobody's gonna be able to stop you. You can just keep on delaying it for a while. But the moment you get it, you're gonna like gobble up it, So I think to be an entrepreneur, you have to have that hunger and believe and believe in yourself.
दाइले त अब धेरै बिजनेस स्कुल्समा गएर पनि नेपालमा पनि गएर you've already given classes and lectures हैन.
They're going to hate me for that. I say you have to have passion. Once you have passion, you'll make it. There are a lot of people with passion, right?
एकदम दाइ one of them is me.
Yeah, I mean, and it's okay to change, Passion, hunger, I think hunger is and a lot of people like perseverance, like, a lot of people quit after a certain period of time.
म चाहिँ I've been into the media for 10 years. I'm still trying and striving for more and more and more. तपाईले भनेको कुरा I can relate to it.
Yeah. Like if you look at a lot of these businesses, like, like a lot of people have their businesses fail and then they go again. Right? I run into all these companies that I have my clients. They go like, I started my company in a garage, and then for 3 years I struggled, and we're just about to close it down. And then we say, okay, you know what? We're gonna go for 1 more month, and then it just happened. So just though I hear a lot.
So कुन बेला क्लिक हुन्छ चाहिँ थाहा कन्सिस्टेन्सी चाहिँ रहिरहनु पर्यो हैन दाइ अब भनौँ न तपाईँ बस्नुहुन्छ युएसमा कम्पनी छ नेपालमा हैन I'm getting into the entrepreneurial sites के किनकि these things intrigue me a lot and I'm sure pretty much हाम्रो युवाहरूलाई पनि it would intrigue them because they don't want to be the business operators ni ta. They would want to actually manage businesses. Right? What is the ingredient that actually makes things happen as an entrepreneur but not as a business operator? How do you not stay a business operator?
Initially you have to be an entrepreneur and a business operator. Like when we started the company, I used to spend a lot of time here. Barsako 6 mahina I used to stay. Like when I started, like first time I came here, I stayed 3 months and I went back. Come back 2 months later, another 3 months. And as the business started getting more mature and you have a management team that is really that you have confidence in, then you can
That is the question that I wanted to come
so
here. How
now
do you
I can
manage
come here for a month and then go away and then come back.
How do you assemble the management team there? What is the drill? How did you went through the process of managing a team?
God, management team is, it's tough. It takes time. You'll find the right people. Nepalma garo cha, because everybody wants to be their own CEO. Everybody wants to go start their own company. I have guys that worked in my studio for 1.5 years and then they'll go, "Ekera cha, mo ta mero euta sano media house ko le chu, mo CEO ke." So many of them are like
in order to become a CEO, I think the people have got the concept wrong. I think in order to be a CEO, one needs to have executives at different levels. Right?
So I think putting together a manager, I mean, even now, I'm still looking for some, people. It's a hard thing here. But when you find it, then you can go like, okay, like for example, this is an interesting thing. I used to be very obsessive type of guy. I used to be like every little thing because I come from an animation background. Every pixel counts and all. So for the first 6-7 years, I used to run a company where I had to look at everything. Not dine.
So you used to micromanage.
Yeah, I used to micromanage. I was a bad micromanager, and people used to, Kiran Sarai, and they used to freak out. Something changed. I went to Vipassana for 11 days, 10 days, and then that was the time I go okay, I really don't care what happens to the company. Unless the company burns down, don't bother me. If we have a client that gets mad, you handle it. If we lose a client, forget it, we'll get another. I left for 11 days. I came back, the company was intact. And that's when after it changed, then I go okay, why am I so worried about these things? And I started letting go. And as that happened, then I could start focusing on the
diversifying and scaling.
Thinking about stories for the studio and trying to focus on that kind of stuff. That's right.
Now, what can we expect of Incessant Rent Studios for the next probably 2 years now? What can we expect गर्न सक्छौं त हामीले?
So we have so next year we're making a film called Frostbite, with a team, 4 American actors. I won't name them because and then we have one well-known Indian actor and then some Nepalese actors and all. So that's a live action. So now we're starting to get into live action also. And then we have 2 animated projects that one of them has been in my heart for the last 8-9 years here, and we've been trying to raise fund. So it's a superhero I give you a Yeti Man.
Okay.
You know, nobody can do that anyway. It's only Yeti Man is a story that we've been developing. Now it's really coming into play, and so that's our projects. But beyond that, for the company, one of the things that we're trying to do is trying to have a presence in the local market. So we're trying to create content, and content in the sense, like when I say local market, create local content from the stories and all here, but has it something that can also be viable for the global market. Okay. So we're now going to try to set up another entity under a parent company Incessant name as another company.
All right. Thank you so much, Dai. It was a pleasure talking to you. Learned a lot, as always. And it's a pleasure having you right next to me and talking, before the camera. And it's actually a pleasure, actually an honor for me to have you on my show.
Thank you for having me.
So readily you agreed, and I'm really obliged to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's great to talk to another guy that looks just like me.
Thank you so much, Dai.
Thanks.
Pleasure. All right, so म चाहिँ अब बिदा माग्दैछु चिया गफबाट. Thank you so much for watching Chiya Guff. म हुँ जय प्रधान, and as always, people, like I always say, let that heart beat, for if you let it beat, it'll take you to all the wonderful places. Ciao.
This program is powered by
उच्च सोचको निर्माण सगरमाथा सिमेन्ट जुनी जुनीलाई